guys, Tony here, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new ALR screen from Valerion, which specifically is designed for long-throw projectors. I received this screen from Valerion to pair with the Pro 2 projector, and in my review of the Pro 2, you can actually see it in action. And since that video, I have had dozens of requests from the community to give my feedback and impressions about the screen, so I'll cover off everything from the construction, the price, the performance, and guys, I have to say that this is one of the biggest ever videos in terms of how long it took to film and create the demos with over 1 terabyte of footage, because I had to shoot in the morning, the afternoon and the evening without moving the camera, and also capture the exact same demos. So I hope that you enjoy them. There are no modifications to the image from how I shot it on my Blackmagic Studio camera. So what you see is what my eyes were seeing in real life, which will give you a realistic indication whether or not it actually works, so stay tuned. So guys, I received the 120-inch version, and I will say that it did take me a bit of time to wrap my head around it for the installation, as when I got mine it was in pre-production, so I didn't get any instructions. I will say that once I worked it out, my son and I made short work of putting it together, and it was a really unique leaf spring that allows you to tension the screen all the way around, which to me is better than the conventional spring system, because then you can pull it super tight. The quality of each piece is really good, with everything lining up and getting into place quickly and easily. The material is made in a Fresnel specification, which is a radial pattern with ridges that absorb light from the sides and the top of the screen, while reflecting the light coming from underneath it. This does present an issue if you have a ceiling mounted projector, but I will cover off that later. The viewing angle is specified at 90 degrees, meaning you could place the projector at an angle and still receive the benefit of the ALR properties. However, I never recommend doing that, and for all of these demos, I had the projector 100% positioned perfectly without any keystone or adjustments, only optical zoom to square it up. The other properties of this screen is that it's designed to despeckle the image, and with my Pro 2, I did still notice a little bit of speckle, but nowhere near as much as on my previous screen. This is the drawback of triple laser and having such a powerful light source. Although the image is absolutely stunning, there is a little bit of RBE and speckle. However, when I ceiling mounted the Pro 2, the speckle was literally unwatchable, so I can attest to the despeckle nature of this screen. It definitely does reduce it quite a bit. What made things much better was when I flipped the screen upside down, and with the ceiling mount it went back to normal with only a tiny bit of noticeable speckle. So my first impressions are that it does give a very nice image, it's very bright and of great quality, probably the best ALR screen I've tested in my setup so far. To go over some of the specs while I show you some footage, we have 1.8 decibel gain, making it a very bright screen. As mentioned earlier, we have a 90-degree viewing angle, allowing for flexible placement of the projector. And the screen comes in a 16:9 aspect ratio with the Fresnel optical light rejection design. Valerion claim it can reject up to 85% of overhead and side light. However, I have no way of measuring this. My eyes tell me that it does work pretty well, as you'll see later. We also have the despeckle design to help mitigate the nasty laser speckle that the triple laser can tend to create on ALR screens, with a scratch resistant and easy to clean surface. The most important thing to note is that this is a screen designed for longer throw projectors, not ultra short throw, so you can use this with your standard projector, either by placing the screen the correct way up or having it cast from the lower position, or you can flip the screen upside down. You can ceiling mount the projector, which means you will unfortunately lose some of the ALR properties for the ambient light coming from the top, but it will still work for the side, which I did in my setup. Mounting the Pro 2 up on the ceiling gave me excellent results. The main purpose of this video is to give you demonstrations of the performance in realistic conditions. My upstairs casual cinema is where I do most of my testing, because it is closer to what you would have in your setup. I do have a dedicated space, but then there would be little point testing the ALR properties, so this room works out really well to demonstrate just how destructive ambient light can be to your image. I have coined my side windows the windows of death, because side light is generally the worst possible light for a projector screen. So let's take a look at some of the demos so that you can see first of all what it looks like with direct, non-ambient light hitting the screen. As As you can see, there is nothing in the world that can mitigate direct light. However, in some brighter scenes you can still make out the image. This isn't a realistic way to use the setup, as most people would at least close down the shutters. I did this, and once I did that, the image improved quite a bit. I need to disclose also that filming a screen is a very difficult thing to do. Often the refresh rate of the camera goes slightly out of sync with the projector, and that can create artifacts while you're recording which are not visible in person. I have done my absolute best, but it's not perfect, and the main reason for this video is so that you can make out the ALR properties of the screen. Check out these examples to see how the same movies perform under different conditions. I have tried to choose a wide range of dark and bright scenes so that you can see how it looks. When it comes to the evening viewing with the lights off, that's when the picture really comes to life. The room was still not 100% light controlled, with bright walls and light coming from downstairs. The screen did an excellent job of blocking that light, so only the light coming from the Pro 2 could be visible. I think that even under light control, this screen gives a very good result beyond what you'd get from a normal screen. Now, to explain my room environment, the daytime footage looks like it has been filmed at night, however it hasn't. I have a black slat panel wall, which when filmed makes the image look like it was filmed at night. However, as you can see from my B camera, I have absolutely filmed with the daylight. That is where I think the screen shines the best, is when you can have some ambient light in the room and still have a very good image. When we look at Passengers, it's one of the movies I usually test the black levels of a projector, but in this case we are looking at how it performs with a screen. In full daylight, the image is still viewable, but the usual black background is pretty washed out. During the daylight, it was very unwatchable, and obviously using something like the Pro 2, which has high contrast, it really helps when you pair it with something like this because it still allows a lot of detail in the dark areas of the image. At nighttime, we have a true cinematic experience with almost JVC level contrast. I was very impressed with the evening performance of this screen. Lucy is an interesting movie to test with this screen because it was shot on a 6K camera and has stunning visuals with a mix of bright and dark on the same scene. If I pause it on the scene where she was getting out of bed, when it switches from her to her captor, you can see in the daylight the black of the suit is completely washed out. However, once the shutters are closed, all of the details come right back into the image, which was incredible to see. And then at night, it was just on another level. Atlas on Netflix is another interesting demo because it has lots of contrast but has bright backgrounds like snow. And in the full daylight with the shutters open, you can still see some details because the scene is very bright. I didn't notice any hot spotting either, but there was some RBE and speckle that I did notice, so that is something to be mindful of if you're susceptible to it. Alita is one of the nicest movies visually to test. The scene where she first wakes up. Again, it's totally washed out in full daylight, but once you get the shutters down, the image comes to life. There is a lot of contrast and brightness with details to see in the highlights as well as the shadows. It was very watchable with the shutters down. Furiosa presents both a bright scene and a nice transition to dark, and is a great test for both the screen and the projector. The bright scenes look really nice, and then the transition to the dark scenes still looked like it showed tons of depth and detail in the daytime version. So this one actually worked in reverse for me. As a super bright movie, I had to lower the ISO on my camera to capture the image, as it was almost hot spotting on the screen. This is where an ALR screen works best in full daylight because it's able to reflect as much of the projection light as possible. Most movies I watch seem to have dark scenes, so this one was a good one to watch and compare. It worked really well in the daytime with the shutters down, and at night it was just like a TV. The rooftop scene is a benchmark scene for me to test when I review projectors, and this one didn't disappoint. Daytime in full light was not watchable at all, but the shutters down and the evening viewing was very watchable. I would almost say certainly reserve this movie for watching in the evening, and it was very impressive to see how the Pro 2 was able to put so much detail on the screen, especially in John Wick's face. Super nice cinematography and a bright neon contrast with the darkness. It's just a great way to test out your setup. So guys, what are the pros and cons of this screen? The pros are that it performs really well without direct light, seems to do as advertised and reject as much of the ambient light as possible while rendering a bright image, and is a great pairing with the Pro 2. The cons are that it was a little time consuming to put together and requires a lot of patience to thread the rods into the side pieces, so hopefully Valerion can make the process a little easier. Another pro is just how tight the screen can be tensioned, with the leaf springs really helping to achieve that, and putting it up was super simple. You do have mounting options, but I have a specific way of doing it in my setup, so I couldn't show that. Check the links in the description for current pricing and availability. I know that Valerion are often doing specials, so I will keep the links updated. They aren't affiliate links and I do not make any commissions on sales for this projector or screen. I am just a fan of the brand and love what they are doing in this space, bringing an insanely good projector and screen to the market for more budget conscious home theater enthusiasts. Currently the pricing is $999 for the 100 inch and $1,799 for the 120 inch. You can check the website down below for more information and see some of the other options from Valerion. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, why not give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to see my future videos. I have more Valerion videos coming when I finally get my hands on the Max. I cannot wait for that one, and I have more projectors coming on the channel very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyway guys, a very big thank you for watching, and I'll leave a couple of videos in the cards at the end of the video, but that's it for this one. You'll catch me in the next one. Bye for now.